What's going on, guys? Looks like we are live. My name is Martin Ware, and just for quality control, if you guys can see my screen, you guys can actually see me and you can hear my voice. Go ahead and type it in. Okay, we're using a new platform. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go there now and actually just share with you what it looks like. So if you guys can actually see me and you can see my screen, you can hear my voice. Just let me know. That way we can go ahead and get started. Okay, we'll get started in the next 60 seconds for the stragglers to come in. So it looks like we are live. Perfect. So let me just show the screen real quick. I'm using a brand new platform at the moment. So let me just show you. If you guys want, in the next 60 seconds, okay, on the right hand side, you guys should be able to hear, or you guys should be able to see this, right? So on the right hand side, we have a chat area. So if you want to chat with me, let me just let's do some quality control real quick and test this out. So can you? So go ahead. Wait, that's not it. Give me 1 second. Um, 1 second, guys. Shoot. And just for quality control, so if you guys can hear me, go ahead and type it in. All right, I see you. We're good. Awesome. All right, let me just want to make sure that we are good here. Um, 1 second. Wait for it. Wait for it. Perfect. All right, I can see you guys are here. Awesome. Now, if you guys go ahead and if you guys see this right here, there's a chat box you guys see me. Okay, there's also an invite. If you guys want to invite anybody, if you guys are getting value, go ahead and invite somebody. You can go ahead and just, if you have their email address, you can send them a quick email and share it on the social networks. Okay, there's a Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus. Go ahead and share this right now. Okay, while we wait another 30 seconds for those that are still straggling in. I promise we'll get started now. There's a lot of value that I'm going to provide you guys tonight. So let's just share this real quick. Come hang out with me on this live workshop. Join now. Boom. I'm just going to share that. All right. So if you guys feel compelled to go ahead and share, just, go to the share button right here where it says social invites. Just go ahead and tweet that, Facebook it, go ahead and Google Plus it, whatever you guys want to do. Go ahead and share it so we can get more interaction here with everybody. Okay. So it looks like we're gonna seconds, guys. So bam, I just shared it myself. So go ahead and do that. If you have questions, make sure you guys are asking them, and I will go ahead and answer them as I go about the presentation. Okay, so let me go ahead and 1 second, guys. Let me shut my door. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So let's actually go here, and looks like we got a few people on. Awesome. Looks like Christina, see you and hear you. Awesome. Junior says, my man says he can hear me, can see me. Boom. I got the baby playing on the keyboard. Awesome. Well, we can bring the baby. Hey, there's podcasts for everybody. It's crazy. There's this one podcast what's the dad and the actual son that are actually doing the podcast together. So it's a really cool thing. You can involve your family. I'm gonna share with you how to actually go about doing that today. Okay. So let me just share my second as I get there. All right, so where we at right here? Boom. Okay, hide that. Broadcast. Some current slide. Okay, bam. So on your screen, you should be able to see a picture of my actual PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so on the screen, it actually says Podcast Master Blueprint. Okay, you guys are on this workshop today, and I'm going to be sharing with you strategies and how I was able to go about, take my podcast from zero, not knowing anything, to we're almost hitting 100,000 downloads, and we should be hitting it within the next few days or so. So I'm going to share with you, you're going to discover the simple process to creating, producing, and launching a strategic podcasting business. Again, my name is Martin Ware. I'm actually the host and founder of the Unstoppable Journey podcast. And tonight, I'm not playing. I'm literally going to expose the truth on the internet marketing industry's best kept recruiting secret. I'm actually show you on this very workshop how to create a lead and cash flowing machine that spits out money like an ATM machine on 100% autopilot. Okay, so if you guys are good with that, if that was not a good enough hook, and if you're still here watching this, then we're gonna dig in today. And my workshops usually go about 60 minutes. Sometimes they go a little bit over. A lot of stuff to talk about and a lot of stuff. So make sure you have your notes. Make sure you guys are taking notes. And if you miss something, you can always watch the replay. Okay, this is being recorded. So that doesn't mean that you jump off, because I actually have a special gift for those of you that stay right to the end of tonight's training. I'm actually going to be sharing with you a special untapped resource to help build professional looking capture pages and funnels that help build your influence. And this is really my secret weapon, guys, to building my audience so they know, like, and trust me. Okay, so if you guys want to go ahead, and I'm gonna mess with this real quick, guys, so you guys can actually, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, but I'm gonna do it just because it's a cool little add-on, and I'm gonna just check it real quick because did you guys see that pop up? Did you guys see that? Did you guys see the special gift? It's like you get to see me on the left hand side, and then you're able to see my PowerPoint presentation. Do you guys like that, or should I take it off? It's up to you guys, but it's a cool little add-on to the software that I'm using. So I guess I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing it like that, because then if I had someone helping me out, it'd be cool. But if not, I'm just gonna go like this right now. So the game plan for tonight, I'm actually gonna turn it off, guys. It might be distracting you guys. So let me turn this off because it might distract you. All right, I know it's gonna distract me. So, yeah, let's just go with it. All right. So tonight you're gonna discover the rarely shared to generate massive targeted leads to your products and services using an untapped traffic resource. Basically, I'm going to share with you how to start a podcast, okay? And I'm also going to share with you the 8-step process, how to produce your podcast. So once I share with you what a podcast is, I'm going to share with you an 8-step process that I use like clockwork to get my podcast created, produced, and then launched out to the world, and getting more people. We're actually in over 54 different countries now, so it's crazy what a podcast can actually do. The new blue ocean that you can now play in, okay, whatever product and services you have, I guarantee there's a podcast for it. If there's not, then you can actually create one, okay? That's how explosive this industry is. So I'm also going to share with you how to launch your podcast, okay? So once I share with the 8-step process, I'm going to share with you how to actually launch it. I'm going to share with you a formula that actually helped me get to 3 different categories on iTunes with millions at my podcast, meaning looking at my products or services, the things that I offer inside the podcast, and just millions of listeners being able to now tap into that. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm also going to share with you how to grow your podcast audience. Okay. Your audience is everything. And I'm going to show you how to create a tribe, how to create a community of other people that start to know, like, and trust you, and start really to download your podcast and really start to connect with you on a different level. Okay. Because and if you don't know what a podcast is, don't worry. I'm going to explain what a podcast is. And because, to be frank, I didn't know either. So as you learn, you're able to now grow. And finally, I'm going to share with you how to monetize your podcast. Okay. Everything is good and gravy, and you can create all this content. Okay. But at the end of the day, you want to create it as a business as well, where you can actually monetize your podcast. I'm going to share with you a few different things and tactics that I'm utilizing in my business to now start, once I created the monetization comes, okay? And, that's like anything, okay? It doesn't matter if you don't have an audience, if you don't have no one looking at your product services, you're really not going to sell anything, okay? But if you now have built an audience of people that know, like, and trust you, then now you can start offering services to them, and that's where the monetization comes in. So if you guys are ready to get started, go ahead and let me know. Hit a yeah in the comment section so I know that you guys are ready. You guys are still paying attention to the workshop. So go ahead and let me know if you guys are ready to go, and I'll go ahead and continue. I need to get at least a few yeses. You guys are ready to go, and a few yayas, and I'll go ahead and continue. So as we're waiting, I'm gonna just check if we got any questions, and looks like the chat is going off insane. Yes, everyone's ready. Awesome. Okay, perfect. So let's actually just continue then. So now is the time where you're going to take notes. Now is the time where you're going to ask questions as I go along the presentation. If you have any questions that come up, make sure you ask them, and I'll be able to go through them at the end of the presentation. Okay. So just before we get started with all the concepts, I want to there's some of you that have never heard of my voice before, have never heard of me, have never heard of my podcast. And, I've been doing this since 2010. So who am I and why should you listen to me? Since 2010, I've been studying online marketing, direct response marketing under some of the highest multi-million-dollar elite earners, such as Mike Dillard, my boy Jonathan Budd, okay, some other mentors and partners of mine, Greg Gomez III, my partner Vince Reed, okay, not too far from me in Southern California in Anaheim, just a great mentor, great friend that has really taught me a lot. John Lee Dumas, the #1 podcaster on iTunes, and, the host of Entrepreneur on Fire. And, I've been able to surround myself with these minds and really learn from them and really dig deep into the psychology of building a business. So for the past 5 years, I've received my online marketing education after long sleepless nights, investing well over $60,000, learning from these experts, attending multiple live events on an annual basis, always evolving. Okay, if there's one key thing in my business that I've always kept consistent, is going to live events, going and mingling with people and making it real for myself that, man, these guys are really there's people making this type of money, and just making it real for myself. I go to a lot of live events. I currently train and coach clients from different parts of the globe, so I have a global business. I've been a top income earner in several 2-tier affiliate opportunities created by a 7-figure and well-respected online marketer. I've also placed in the top 10 in affiliate marketing competitions with elite Eric Hoverson, Jonathan Budd, Ray Higdon, Greg Gomez III, and William Rapp, to name a few. Now, I don't say all this to boost or brag about myself. I say this because I understand that it's possible to create freedom online, my friend. Okay, even if you struggled miserably like I did for over 2.5 years, not making a single dime online. All right, I didn't make a single dime online for 2.5 years, but I knew by going to these live events, by meeting these mentors of mine and getting coaching and mingling with them and eating and sometimes even drinking a beer, I knew that this was possible, and I didn't give up. So maybe after this presentation, you too will have the blueprint and the strategy that I used to do it. Okay, and that's the hopes for this. So the Unstoppable Journey, I'm going to blow through this really quick because I'm going to go into a lot of the content, but just for those that you have never heard of me, I'm the founder and the host of the Unstoppable Journey podcast. I launched just back in November 2014. So we're in May. So 6 months ago, I launched my podcast, not knowing anything about podcasting, not having a list of podcasts, or not having a tribe or a community. I built it all from scratch. I've actually have gotten a few awards. I was awarded in podcast, the best new podcast of 2014, most inspirational podcast, best overall host, and best overall podcast. Okay, and here's just Jackie Bayer. Well deserved, Martin. I listened to a lot of your shows since I saw the results. I think you want something in every category. First for most education, second for best overall host, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. Right? It doesn't really matter. So I just want to let you know that the things that I'm going to share with you tonight is things that I've actually taken action on. I've taken action, and now I have the ability to teach you what I've learned. Okay, so iTunes new and noteworthy, I'm going to share with you a strategy, a formula that I uncovered along the way that now you can utilize. Most people usually hit new and noteworthy just in one category. I was able to hit new and noteworthy in 3 different categories. Okay, and it was the business, the education, and technology. So been downloaded over 60. This is an old slide. It's actually over 90,000 times now. I didn't save it. I thought I changed that. 90,000 times and listened to over 47 different countries. Okay. So now that you know a little bit about me and what I've done with my podcast, I want to now shift things a little bit and share with you the major problems that I I face, and not only that, but that I face when I first start off, but also clients that I talk to, people that I talk to in my communities. And there's a couple major problems that people come across or face when they're new to something, and especially when they're new to podcasting. Okay, number one is, what is a podcast? Go ahead and type in right now. Does anybody not know what a podcast? It's okay if you don't. Okay, if you don't know what a podcast, it's all right, because trust me, I didn't know what a podcast was until someone actually explained. So if you okay, so who knows what a podcast is? Go ahead and type it in. If you know what a podcast is, type it in. Hey guys, you can definitely also interact, because I also get these questions after the replay, after we're done with the live sessions. So looks like a few people are say yeah, they're ready. Yes, they know. Okay, awesome. And so, not knowing what a podcast is, first and foremost. Okay. Number two is, how do I find my topic? Once I know what a podcast is, how do I find my topic? How do I actually dig deeper into what I want to talk about? All right. That's a major problem. People don't know how to actually figure that out. Number three is, how do I create a perfect avatar? Once I know the topic that I'm passionate about and I have some expertise in, like, how do I create my audience now? Okay. I have this topic that I love and I'm passionate about, but how that perfect avatar, that perfect person that's going to listen to who I'm going to be speaking to as I'm cutting these podcasts. Okay. And I'm going to share with you a strategy and a formula to actually find your topic, and also how to create your perfect avatar. Number four is not knowing the tools and software to use. Okay. I'm going to be quite honest and authentic, just like I am in my podcast. This is really what held me back from not launching my podcast for 6 months or 5 months. Okay, I learned about it at a live event. John Lee Dumas was speaking, and I held that thought on for a few months, because I made up this crazy story in my mind that I didn't know the tools, I didn't know the software to use. So I needed to know everything in order for me to move on. Okay, and that's a major problem that maybe you're facing, or maybe you're facing one of these 4 problems. But for me, the one that really held me back was not knowing the tools and software to use. Number 5 is not knowing how to leverage iTunes. Okay, iTunes can be, if you're not used to going onto iTunes, or you don't have an iPhone, iTunes can be a platform that you have to learn. You have to know the certain areas of where to go, being able to be effective as a marketer. So not knowing how to leverage iTunes is another one. How to actually monetize your podcast. Once I explain what a podcast is, one of the questions comes, okay, well, how do you actually make money from this? Like, I'm going to put all this effort in, I'm going to put all this time and away from my family, away from my kids, away from my wife or husband, and what am I going to get in return? Okay, there has to be I have to pay the bill somewhere. There has to be a way to monetize this. Okay, and that's a major problem people face, and why they don't come into podcasting. Well, today, my friend, all the nerve-shattering, uncomfortable phobias and deceptions stop. Okay, I'm going to shatter every belief that you have, or every myth that you have in your mind today about podcasting, and how you can actually create it in the next few weeks. Okay, and actually figure out what you want to talk about, figure out your avatar, who you're actually going to be talking to, what type of community you're going to be building, how to go about accessing the tools and the softwares, at the same time how to actually monetize it once you create that community. Okay, so all the deception, everything that you have in your mind, I want you to be ready and be open to the information. Okay, you have to be, number one, open-minded, because there's a lot of phobia, especially for me. When I first started, I didn't know I didn't know the software, I didn't know all that stuff, right? So there was a fear and something stopping me, for me moving on. Once I learned the information, I was able to bypass all that crap, break through, and be unstoppable, and really now be able to share this with you. So let's talk about the innovations and the technology that have radically altered the way someone shares their opportunity with folks. Okay, it's the key to growing massive downlines while producing cash flow, even if no one joins your primary business. Okay, I'm going to share with you how you can make money, even if you have a primary business right now, whatever that is, whether that's high ticket, whether that's a coaching program, whatever that is, an MLM, network marketing company, doesn't matter. I'm going to share with you how you can actually cash flow even if nobody joins your primary business. Okay, how you can make money doing that. If you want to create a seismic shift in your income, your influence, and your ability to friction-free recruit, then using podcasting is one of the best ways I have found to be in front of thousands who are actually actively searching for what it is that you have to offer. Okay, podcasting is the medium that I found that, number one, I can relate to. I really love doing it. I have a passion for it, and I figured out that, man, there's so many people listening to podcasts nowadays. It's like the perfect storm to get into podcasting. Okay. And besides video, I think audio is really powerful. If you can combine both of them, it's really, really powerful. Now let's move into a little bit of the meat and potato of things now. So what is a podcast? Okay, a podcast is in a nutshell, okay, simplest forms is it's a digital audio file made available on the internet for downloading to your computer or portable media player. Okay, it's typically available in a series. Okay, or you can get new installments of which can be received by your subscribers. So in essence, it's one person is creating an audio file, okay, an MP3 play format, and they're producing it, okay, they're producing it, and then they're launching it out to iTunes or Stitcher Radio or SoundCloud or all these other platforms. And then there's an end user that is listening to that audio form and getting value, hopefully, right? Hopefully, if they're listening, there's value in there. But in the simplest forms, it's an audio file, okay? And one person produces it and the other person listens to it, and that's a podcast, okay? In its simplest forms. There's also video podcasts where you can do a video and you can broadcast, but we're going to keep it really simple and basic for the beginner today, and really just talk about the audio file version of podcasting. Okay, so that's what a podcast is. It's nothing more than that. Okay, it's just an audio file that someone creates, produces, launches it, and then you on the other end can hear it on your phone, and I'm going to share this with you, but even on CarPlay, okay, which I'll explain what that is in a moment. You can listen to on your computer, on your laptop, on your mobile devices, all that good stuff. Okay, so it's really it's very easy to listen to audios. So let me share with you 5 reasons to consider podcasting in the first place. Okay, so I want to share with you some statistics and get your mind really thinking of the possibilities and the blue ocean that you can now be playing in. Okay, number one, podcasting, to consider podcasting in the first place, number one, it's on demand. Okay, it's very on demand. Listeners don't have to say no to something to say yes to podcasting. Okay, they can listen it in their car while they're driving. They can listen to CarPlay. They can listen while they're exercising. They're talking, taking walks, being with their family. Okay, and CarPlay, for those of you who have not seen this, if you see that purple icon right there, let me know if you guys can see that icon. I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah, I think you guys can see that icon, right? That purple icon, okay, that is the podcasting app. All right, so in every 2015 car that now has a dashboard and beyond, they will have this CarPlay app in there. So now people can hit that app and they can go straight to the podcasting section. What that does, and I hope you guys understand this, let me try to frame it right, because what that now does, that opens up the possibilities to have millions upon millions of people now access to your content. Okay, they now have access to clicking that app, and every 2015 car with the dashboard is going to have that app, and now people don't have to listen to the radio and listen to all the commercials, the Miley Cyruses, the Justin Biebers, playing 20 different times throughout the day. you now have a choice as a consumer. I and you now have a choice. We don't have to listen to the radio. We don't have to listen to the commercials. We can listen to what we want to listen to while we're commuting, while we're going to work, coming from work, going to the gym, being outdoors. We now have the opportunity and the choice to listen and really feed our brain the things that we want to feed it, okay? And not just, being submissive to the radio stations and having them really dictate what you listen to and what you put into your brain, okay? So that's very powerful. I want you guys to write that down. CarPlay 2015, that's huge. Number 2 is podcasting is really targeted and it's free. Let's talk about targeted first and then we'll move into free. Targeted. So let me ask you a question. What interests you? Okay. Go ahead and type it in. Something that interests you, that you really have an interest for. Go ahead and type it in. Let's see what people are typing in. So this is interactive too, guys. So make sure you guys, I feed off of your energy too. So what are you guys passionate about? Like what interests you? Just if you guys could throw something out there. Or I take a drink of water. All right. I'm not seeing no one typing in, but I don't want to hold off too much. So iTunes has 16 different categories. So anything that you're interested in, doesn't matter what it is. It could be cooking. It could be health and wellness. It could be, I don't know, creating, I don't know, quilts, whatever it is. There's over 16 categories with hundreds of subcategories in the marketplace, okay? And in iTunes alone, there's over 525 million active users that go onto iTunes, with 315 million of those who access on their iPhone, all right? And this is powerful as well, because you see that podcast that I just told you about, that purple one? That podcast app, okay, I don't have an iPhone, I have an Android, but if you're an iPhone user, then that podcast app cannot be removed from your phone, which is humongous, because as a podcaster, okay, being the host, I now have, that's perfect real estate, okay? People are looking on their phone. You cannot, I don't know about you, but for me, if I leave the house without my cell phone, right? As a matter of fact, it's right next to me, and I'm pretty sure yours is probably right next to you, maybe on the desk, on the couch, in your purse, in your pocket, wherever you're at. Your phone is probably within 5 you, okay? And that is prime real estate. That app right there, now they just click on it and now they have access. You just opened up a vortex of, now they can consume your products and services, and they don't have to be within your local market. This is literally global, okay? This opens the playing field to being global, all right? So if you have a global business, podcasting, you definitely want to think about, podcasting and creating one. Find a podcast that is focused on the exact topics and interests that you have, okay? And best of all, podcasting is free, all right? And who doesn't love free? I love free, right? And this is why it's powerful, okay? Because it's free. And it, with being free, you can create unlimited content that you can stream or download for absolutely free, okay, for nothing. A major reason why podcast hosts like myself are building massive audiences, because you can create content and now you can put that out into the world, into iTunes and Stitcher and to SoundCloud. And now you have that audience coming to you, and now you're building that trust factor, that like factor. And eventually, if you provide enough value, then there'll be a tipping point where now they're going to see you as the trusted advisor, okay? And anything that you recommend to them, they will now take action on, okay? If it's something good, right? So that's why, podcast hosts are creating massive audiences. Number 3, it allows you to host. It allows the host to build in with their audience. And this is what I really, really love. Our first earthly experience as a child is hearing voices, okay? Even with, the studies have shown that, children in their mother's womb can actually hear our voices, and they can hear, music and sounds, right? So that's our first earthly experience as a child. We hear voices. That's natural to us. We are drawn to voices in a powerful way, and always will be, okay? We're just human. That's how we are wired. We are drawn to people's voices, okay? when you ask the question to, once you build an audience, you build a community of people, you ask the question like, what are you actually struggling with? Okay, this is funny because they will actually tell you, right? And you can create a solution to their struggle, right? So once you build an audience, once you learn how to build an audience, you can just go to them and you can ask them a question like, what are you struggling with? And they will actually tell you, and you can actually create something for them. With that, right, your first product is born. And I put a little hint there because this is why I'm actually hosting this this workshop today, because I actually ask people like, what are you struggling with? Are you interested in creating a podcast? I've done it. I'm getting results. Like, do you want to know how to do that? And a lot of people said yes. So that's why we're actually here today. So number 4 is your ability directories. And this is huge. iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and SoundCloud are the 3 major directories. And they all have one thing in common, guys. Okay, one thing in common that these 3 big directories have. They already have massive communities searching for content through their, all right, let me just say that one more time so it sinks in. They already have massive communities searching for their content through their platform, okay? So the big ones are iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and SoundCloud. So these are platforms where you as a podcast host now can go onto these platforms and say, hey, I have a podcast. Your podcast being on these 3 different channels, and they already have an audience. So if you're able to build it and you're able to follow the step-by-step, formulas that I'm going to share with you, then you can have endless amounts of people listening to what you have to say, okay, and building a tribe, okay? Your podcast, like the Unstoppable Journey, I understand it's not for everybody, okay? And frankly, I don't want it to be for everybody. I want to create a tribe that people that really know, like, and trust me. I want to create a community where people come and I'm actually creating a community called Warrior Nation at the moment. So, you can create a community, you can create a tribe by utilizing these platforms. And number 5, it really builds your authority and credibility in your niche. When you interview successful people, okay, you are now associated with them, okay? Perception is reality. Let me just ask you a question. Like, all the pictures that I showed you, in the prior slides with, all those, elite earners, right? Some of you probably know who those are, right? Most likely you do know who all those people are. And what did you first think? Like, you probably thought like, wow, how did he get all those pictures with that guy, with those guys, right? Well, I was able to be around them, interview them, and really get into their circle. But when you're able to do that, you're able to bring people on and interview them, then you now are associated with them, and I mean, that's huge. When you have a platform, you're building credibility as someone who knows how to create value. So if you're a podcaster, people now assume that if you have a podcast, you're creating value, right? Obviously, you want to create value. You don't want to just have anything out there, right? At least that's not how I want to leave my legacy, right? My podcasting legacy. I don't want to just create anything. I want to make sure that I have a thought in it. I want to make sure that it's being valuable to my audience, and that's what you want to create. When you serve an audience with value consistently and for free, okay, this is what I've learned along my journey in the last 5 years is when you're able to serve an audience with value, consistency, and for free, you're building credibility with them, and they are growing to know, like, and trust you. And that's really what, when people are taking you on a run or they're in their commute to work or from work, or they're at the gym working out and they have you in their ears, right? They have their earbuds in. Just imagine this. They have their earbuds in and you're okay. That builds that know, like, and trust factor. And if you recommend something to them, then, if you really built that, then they will take action on that. Okay. So let's shift a little bit. Now that, I share with you a few facts, a few tips, why podcasting is growing and how you can actually tap into it. Let's actually talk about finding your topic right now, because remember, the major problems is not knowing what a podcast is, finding your topic, right? What to talk about. You may or may be right there at the moment. You understand what a podcast is, but do you understand what topic are you going to be talking about, right? Whether that's business, whether that's, working out, being nutritional, I don't know, creating quilts, creating whatever, right? Scrapbooks, it doesn't really matter. the way to find your topic is very simple. I want you to take your sheet of paper, okay, and draw a line in the middle of it, all right? And I'm going to share with you how you can actually find the topic that you want to really talk about and really create a podcast from, okay? So on the left-hand side of your sheet, passion, okay? The word passion. On the right side of the sheet, I want you to put expertise, okay? I want you to write out, okay, if you don't have to do it right now, okay? If you're watching the replay, definitely to write this down, because if you skip this, then it all comes together at the end. So if you don't have a topic, you don't know what you're going to be talking about. If you haven't planned for this, then there's going to be days where you just are not going to create a podcast because you just don't know what to talk about. Okay, and I'm just talking passion on the left-hand side. Okay, everything that you're passionate about, passions, whatever that is. Okay, on the right-hand side, all your skills, all your expertise that you've accumulated along your journey for however long you've been on this planet, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, it doesn't really matter. And don't give me that bull crap that you don't have no passion or you don't have no expertise, okay? Especially if you're in like your 40s, 50s, 60s, like, what have you been doing along your journey this past 50 years, right? You have to have acquired some skills, whether you're a teacher, a chef, a pastor, or, a business person, someone that cuts hair, a barber. It doesn't really matter. Those are all skill sets. A welder, an electrician, right? Those are skill sets. Okay, that's your expertise. Your passions are like for me, my passions is traveling, being outdoors, exploring nature, building my networks, really getting better with people and helping and inspire others, right? So that's really a lot of things that fall into my passion. Expertise, learning, I've learned online marketing. I know sales. I know how to manage people. I've been on different teams, sports. So those are all my expertise, things that I have skills in. Okay. And what you want to do once you create this list, okay, once you create it, you're going to find what we call the zone of genius. Okay. The zone of genius is when you start to figure out how you can take your passions and your expertise and mingle them together and mix them up, okay? And that right there, that's the topic that comes out of it, okay? That's the topic that you're going to be talking about on your podcast, okay? From the zone of genius. So this is a really powerful exercise. Don't overthink it, but don't skip it as well, because it's very people that skip it, they come back and say, hey, well, I don't know what to talk about nowadays. If you do this zone of genius, okay, then you're always going to have something to talk about, because you're going to have your passions, you have your expertise, and you're going to create that podcast from that, okay, from that area, okay? And so don't skip it, okay? Don't skip this part. If you need to go back and watch the replay, I highly recommend you stop this right now and, definitely go through this exercise. So now let's talk about crafting your perfect avatar. Before I do that, let me get a drink of water. Let me know if you guys are getting value so far. Go ahead and type it in. Type it in if you guys are actually getting, some value. All right. So we say leadership, business, powerful indeed, awesome. So if you guys are getting value, go ahead and, give me a high five or say a yeah, something. So I know that you guys are still, we still got some people. It looks like we still got a lot of people on. So that was just a water break. But I want to be interactive with you guys too as well. So let's talk about crafting your perfect avatar. Okay. So once you got your zone of genius, once you figured out what you want to talk about, you figured out your passions, you wrote down, your skill sets, what you're expert in, you got the zone of genius already created, right? Now let's talk about crafting your perfect avatar, right? Who's actually going to be listening to your podcast? And the cool thing about it is you actually create it. You create that person, all right? It's not going to be everybody. So don't think that, I'm going to create a podcast and everybody and their mama is going to listen to it, because that's not reality. That's not the truth, right? You're going to create a perfect avatar, one person that you create, that you speak to when you're creating your podcast, and that person is going to resonate with the person that you actually design, okay? And let me just take you through a quick little lesson how I actually created my perfect avatar. So my perfect avatar, his name is Henry, all right? He's 32 years old. He's married. He has a wife. All right. He has 2 children, ages 5 and 7. All right. He drives to work 30 minutes commute, okay, there's a little bit of traffic, and 45 minutes back, right, because there's more traffic, right? He's a 9 to 5er, but he secretly wants to get out of his 9 to 5 grind and create his own economy to spend more time with his family, right? He's always thinking, why am I spending 80% of my time going to work and doing the things, being in commute, and listening to my boss and all this other crazy crap, when I could be with my family, right? So he desperately wants a way out of his 9 to 5 grind, and he wants to be more with his wife. He wants to take her on vacation, wants to go and travel the world. He wants to take his kids and have things that they can see. But he has this 9 to 5, so he's my perfect listener. While he goes to work and he comes back to work, while he goes to the gym and works out, he's listening to the Unstoppable Journey, all right? Because he knows through that, I'm now able to bring on people, bring on special guests, bring on, my own personal knowledge and my wisdom onto the podcast. And that helps Henry to now fight through the day and get to where he wants to get to, which is getting out of his job and retiring and being able to be an entrepreneur and live the lifestyle, right? So that's who I speak to. Every time I cut a podcast, I'm speaking to Henry. I'm not speaking to the world. I'm speaking to one person, because if I do that, I always can go back to what would Henry do, right? What would Henry do? What would Henry want? And I can always go back and create the content for Henry. All right. So that's how you create your avatar. All right. So now let's jump into the system requirements. And this is, again, when I talked about in the beginning, is just something that really held me back. It was this freaking story that I kept telling myself, I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the tools. I don't have the software to create a podcast. It's going to be too hard. I want to tell you right now, my friend, if you're going through that, it's normal. All right. Embrace it. However, fight through it. Fight through that, because that's going to stop you always, because you don't know something, right? That's just, it's human nature that always comes up. Okay. If we don't know something, we're kind of fearful and we kind of hesitate to move. But barriers tonight. Okay, I'm going to share with you the system requirements, the things that you need in order for you to launch your podcast. All right. Number one, you need a computer or you need a tablet. Okay, very simple. You can actually create a podcast with your phone as well. But I'm going to keep it very simple and basic. You need a computer. Okay, you need something to get a gadget to actually create the podcast. Number two, you need a microphone. Okay, and the reason why I say you need a microphone is because audio. Remember, it's not video, it's not a blog post, and it's not written word. It's voice, it's audio, right? So if your audio sucks and you're just talking into your computer mic without having a mic, then you can get all this feedback, you can get all this white noise, you can get people not being able to hear you right, and it turns people off. So you want to have a microphone. And number three is you need recording and editing software. Okay. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to break it all down for you tonight, what you actually need, the things that I use, and I'm going to recommend a few other things, but it's not what you probably, portray this in your mind to be. Okay. It's not crazy, right? Like I did, which is kind of funny and dumb at the same time. So let's talk about microphones. Okay. The microphone, I'm gonna start from low to high. Okay, so on the low end, you can get a Logitech ClearChat. Okay, it's $29.99, $30. It looks like this. It's actually what I'm using right now. Before I started podcasting, I already had this. So, for me, this is, I love it. It's a long cord. I can walk around if I'm doing my podcast, and I don't have to just be right there. It's a USB connection. So, people say, or the technical people say that, if you have a USB, it just transforms the audio, better. So I really like it like that. It's $30, not too expensive. Now you can go into the medium range, which is the ATR 2100. Okay, it's $59.99. So 30 more bucks, you can get something like this. Okay, and you can have a stand, you can have your mic right there. and you go from the Logitech, you're maybe a 7 or an 8, and you go with the ATR 2100, you go from an 8 to about a 9. Okay, so not too much difference, but if you don't want to have the headset and you just want to have a mic right there, you speak into it, hey, by all means, you choose which microphone you want to choose. Okay, I'm just giving you some ideas right now. The higher end, we'll call it the Cadillac. This is the Heel PR. It's 327. Okay, you find these on Amazon, you find them online, and it looks like this. Okay, it's a Cadillac's the big daddy of them all, and you probably go from a 9 to maybe a 9.5 to it. Okay, so for me, to be quite honest with you, I'm still using the Logitech Clear Chat. Okay, this is what I had before I started podcasting. I'm comfortable with this, and the audio for me, I mean, it's not. People are haven't complained. They haven't said, "Hey, your audio sucks" or anything like that. Eventually will I move up? Yes, but at the moment, I'm 6 months in and I'm still using the Logitech Clear Chat. You don't need a lot of money. You don't have to have these fancy things in order for you to just get started. Okay, and if I learned anything from any of my mentors, is you got to get started. You can't just be on the sideline. You have to be in the game. You have to be on the playing field in order for you to create any type of success or any type of magic out there. Okay, so these are the microphones: the Logitech Clear Chat, the ATR 2100, and the Heel PR, the Cadillac of them all. So now that you have the microphones, okay, I'm going to share with you an 8-step to actually producing your podcast. Okay, and so it's 8 steps. Okay, if you want to take a screenshot or whatever of this, that's fine. Doesn't matter to me. You can write them down. You can watch the replay. It doesn't matter. I'm going to break down to you, and then I'm going to actually go and share with you the 8-step process. Okay, so number 1 in the 8-step process is you got to record. Okay, you got to record your podcast. Number 2 is you got to add an intro. Okay, you got to add an intro to your podcast, just something that's a buffer that breaks up your the beef of your podcast with the intro and the outro. Okay, number 3 is you got to export that file now. Okay, and I'm going to keep it very simple, and I'm actually going to show you. So don't think that, I'm just going to tell you these and then, that's it. I'm going to actually go to a demo. So number 3 is you got to export your podcast. And number 4 is you got to actually tag your podcast, okay, your MP3 file. You actually got to tag it. So when it goes to iTunes, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, any other platforms, that audio naturally, these platforms don't know what you're talking about. So you actually got to let them know, just like a blog post, right? If there's a picture, when Google robots go and scan it and they do their scan, they don't know that a picture is actually there. You actually have to put an alt tag so you can tell the robot, hey, this is a picture of XYZ. You have to do the same thing with your podcast, with your MP3 file, because these platforms don't know what you're talking about. So you got to actually let them know, hey, this is what this podcast is about, title. And I'm going to go through it right now. So I'm going to share with you visuals in a bit. Number 5 is upload. Okay, so once you tag your MP3, now it's time to upload to your hosting account. And I'm going to share with you a few hosting accounts, the one that I recommend and all that good stuff. Number 6 is now you got to schedule your podcast to go out. Okay, so you can either you can have it go out right then and there, or you can schedule it in advance. And this is what I really like, and I'm starting to really utilize this now, is shifting the way I do things, but schedule things out. So let's just say if you have a vacation coming up in the next 2-3 months and you start podcasting, but you're going to be away from your computer, you can actually create the podcast beforehand, upload them to your hosting account, and then have them go out on a specific date. Okay, and you can be being with your family. You can be, I don't know, on the beach drinking a Mai Tai or whatever it is, right? You can, and your podcast will still go out. So you schedule them. Number 7 is publish them. Okay, once you schedule them, then you figure out the day you want to publish them, and that's simple as that. And then number 8 is submitting to iTunes. Okay, I'm going to share with you how to get your RSS feed, how to actually go and submit to iTunes, and how to actually get it to run. Okay, and once you do that one time, the last part, number 8, you only have to do it one time, and that's it. Once you submit to iTunes, you're already on iTunes. All it does is grabs your RSS feed. Every time you submit a new and publish a new podcast, it goes straight to iTunes. So you don't have to do that over and over and over again. Okay, 1 through 7 you do, but number 8 is the last one, and you don't have to do that. You only do that one time. So let me go ahead and share with you the recording softwares that you can now either look up or you can now download. Okay, the first one is Audacity. Okay, and Audacity, that's the logo. Audacity, I really like it because number 1, it's free. All right, and you can actually download it from from the web. If you have a PC like I do, I don't have a Mac, I have a PC, so Audacity works great with PC. If you have a Mac, okay, then you can use GarageBand, and GarageBand is actually free. It comes with the Mac, all right? So you don't have to spend money to get the software that you need in order for you to create your podcast. It's actually free out there, okay? Now, are there ones that you can pay for? Yeah, there's Adobe Audition, okay? Adobe Audition, I believe it's like $20 a month. There's a whole bunch of other gadgets that you probably don't get in Audacity and GarageBand, but for me, I started off with Audacity. That's what I know. That's what I've perfected, and I know how to use Audacity to get my podcast out to the world. These are the 3 recording softwares that you can utilize. 2 of them are free, 1 of them's paid. Audacity, GarageBand, those are free. All right, if you have a PC, go with Audacity. If you have a Mac, go with GarageBand. And if you want, if you want to know all the tech stuff, I don't, but if you want to do that and you want to know all that good stuff, then you can Adobe Audition, okay? And it does the same thing. It's a recording software. All these three that I'm sharing with you right now are recording softwares, okay? Let me take a quick drink of water. Are you guys getting value? Let me know if you guys are getting value. Okay, boom. We got some good stuff. We got some high value. We got bam, bam. All right. I'm going to keep going, guys. So let's talk about your hosting now. Okay, so just like a blog, okay, just like a blog, if you have your own website, you're gonna have to have somewhere to host your content, whether that's your pictures, that's your your blog posts, anything like that. You have to have somewhere to host it. When you're talking about podcasting, it's very similar. You're gonna have files that you want to host, okay, somewhere. And for me, I was recommended Libsyn, and I really love Libsyn. Okay, Libsyn it stands for shortened for Liberated Syndication, and they've been around since 2004. Okay, they actually pioneered the whole hosting of podcasting. Since then, they've actually grown to the largest leading podcast network in 2011. Okay, in 2011, Libsyn actually hosted over 10,000 shows with over 1.6 billion downloads. So if you can imagine that, I mean, there's a lot of people that are using Libsyn, and I really love it. The second one you can go with is SoundCloud. Okay, this one's very popular as well. For me, I started with Libsyn, and I really like everything that's in the back office. It shows you a lot of stats. It shows you how many people are downloading. It shows you, where they're downloading from, what country, what city, even to the zip code. So I really like Libsyn for my hosting. So you're gonna need a hosting company. I mean, there's Libsyn can start as little as $5 a month, all the way to I believe like 75 for X amount of storage. That's if you're doing one every day, but if you're doing one every week, you don't need all that storage. Okay, and SoundCloud, I think depends. They work the same way. So just do your research, whatever one you feel comfortable with. I recommend Libsyn, but you do your research and you just pick one. Okay, I'm gonna leave this as your homework. Pick one and just go with it. All right. So now let me just go into a quick demo. I thought I had. Give me 1 second as I open my. Where's it at? iTunes. Are you guys getting value? You guys are out there. You guys getting value from this? Let me go back here. Let me just. All right, boom. A lot of people are loving this. I'm just, we're about, 44 minutes in, and I still have a few more things to show you, but let me just get my iTunes up real quick. I thought I had it open, but I don't. So give me 1 second. If you have any questions, please, ask me now. I'm here to, I will answer them. So if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. Let me, where am I at? iTunes, where are you? Come on. You're lagging it. All right, we're just waiting for the iTunes to load, but I'm excited. I'm excited for you guys. Let me see. All right, everything's loading up right now. I thought I had it loaded. My bad, guys. Screen share. 1 second. Wait for it. Wait for it. One second. We got it. It's coming up. I promise. I'm working on it in the back. Oh. All right, let me bring up my Audacity. If you guys can see my screen, you guys should be able to see my Audacity screen and what's going on here. What is this? Hangouts would like to share the content on your screen. I can't see anything. Don't tell me. Come on. Wowzers. Let's see. Share my screen. Oh, here we go. Bam. Got it. Got it. You guys should be able to see my screen now. It's going to be a gray screen. Let me know if you guys see that. You guys should be able to see that. So if you guys see a gray screen, this is Audacity. This is the back office of Audacity right now. And I will go ahead and now demonstrate how to actually create a short pod. Very simple. So Audacity, remember again, you guys can use Audacity, you can use GarageBand or Audio Audition. And what you want to do, okay, is it's very simple. You want to remember, you guys want to create an intro, you want to have the body of your podcast, and you want to have an outro. So let me just demonstrate this real quick. This is the actual intro of the podcast. Bam. All right, that's my intro. Right here is the body of the intro. So this is going to be a little bit longer. And this is where you're interviewing people, or you're going to have a topic that you talk about. And this is the body of the actual podcast. Bam. All right. And now let's create the actual outro of the podcast. And this is where you're going to be utilizing different, affiliate links, or, sending people to different places. So this is the outro of your podcast. So there it is, guys. That's a podcast. I just created a podcast for you guys. How simple is that? Okay. Let me go ahead and just make it a little bit. Let me zoom out. Okay. So there's the intro. Here's the body. And here's the outro. All right. So I just created a podcast. Okay. It's only 25 seconds, but I'm just demonstrating to you guys actually create a podcast. So the intro is this part. The middle is this, and then the outro is this. Okay, so now what you're going to want to do is you want to export it, right? So let's follow our 8-step process. We're going to export it now, and you're going to name it something. Okay, so I'm going to name it PBM6. Okay, Podcast Master Blueprint 6. And now we're going to tag it. Remember, one of the steps is you got to tag your MP3, because the engines don't know what you're actually, what your podcast is about. So what I'm going to do is I already created one. Okay. What I do is I like to, you can save it. You don't always have to do it. You just load it up and just put test, right? So Martin with the Unstoppable Journey episode test, and this will be we'll just do test right here too. Okay, 2015 genre is business. Okay, go that. All right, so now it's tagged as you see that it just tagged it, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to, so that's it. That's basically everything that you need to do in order to create a podcast, right? Now what you need to do in the 8-step process, if you now you got to upload it to your hosting account, right? So let's actually go there now. So let me go there, and I'm gonna go to Libsyn, and let me share my screen so you can actually see it. Where are you at? Right here. Okay, so we're going to Libsyn now. You guys should be able to see the Libsyn website. Okay, there's like a little DJ with a microphone. All right, so you guys should be able to see that. Awesome. So now I'm just going to log in real quick, and what you're going to do once you exported it and it's saved, you're gonna upload it now to your hosting account, right? Now, granted, I already went through the first stages of my account. You're going to want to set up your account first, right? I'm kind of bypassing that step. I'm not going to show you how to set up an account. If you know how to set up a Facebook, if you have a Facebook, a Twitter, a G+, you can set up a Libsyn account, right? It's not hard. It's just your info, all right? And one thing that you do is once you create everything, you hit your settings, okay? And you add your show settings, your show content categories, all right? Then you don't ever have to do that again. It's already done once, and that's it. That's why I really love this, because you do it one time, and now you're leveraging that effort, forever. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add a new episode. And what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and upload that episode that you just exported. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to where you saved it. I saved it on my desktop. Podcast PBM6, right? That's what we named it, PBM6. All right, it's uploading now. It's not a large file, so it's going to upload in seconds. As you see, that just happened. The title. So you have the title, you have the subtitle. I just put, this is where your title of podcast goes, is your subtitle. And then you have a description. The description is just for, for iTunes, Stitcher Radio, all the platforms, so they know they pick this up on the feed and they know what to when people look at it. So this is the description. All right, so this is the description of podcast. This doesn't take no more than 10 minutes. Obviously, I'm explaining right now. So all this, once you do this once, this is already automatic. You don't have to mess with that anymore. What I like about Libsyn, it's a syndication platform, so you can actually set up your Twitter, your Facebook, your Google Plus, your LinkedIn, your website, your YouTube. And once you hit submit and publish, then they syndicate to all these platforms. So you can have a Twitter tweet right here. You can have a Facebook update. All right, so you can go ahead and have a customized text right there. So now moving on in the 8-step process is now scheduling the actual podcast to go out. Okay, so you can schedule it to, I'm just going to show you how to schedule it in advance. All right, so you can go here. Today we're May 13th, Wednesday. What I want to do is I want to do May 13th in 2024. Okay, I want this to come out May 13th, 2024. And I want it to come out at 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so I'm telling Libsyn, this is when I want this podcast to go out. All right, obviously I'm putting it in, in the future, so I don't want this to go out into my account, but that's how you would do it. Okay, if I wanted to do it today and I didn't want to actually do it, I would just go to this release immediately on publish, and it would immediately publish to the iTunes store. Okay, it might take an hour or so to get there, but it would automatically publish, and you don't have to do anything else. If you want to go on vacation for a week or two with your family, or a month, or whatever, you can have these scheduled in advance and have them go out at different times, at different days. Okay, so this is really the power of Libsyn as well. So let's move on to 8-step process. What you're going to do now is you're going to actually publish it. So I hit the publish button. Okay, and here's the direct download feed. Okay, here's if you want to, put it on your blog or anything like that. These are all the the links that you can use. So let's go to scheduled and release, just so you can see that I've actually scheduled this. I scheduled it for where we at? Or May 13th, right here. Bam. This is what you're obviously doing these webinars, so you can see this back here. But this one right here is the one I just did, May 13, 2024 at 5 a.m. This is ready to go out. So May 13, 2024 at 5 a.m., this podcast would automatically go out. All right, I don't have to do anything else. That's pretty much basically it. All right, and there you've created a podcast, right? That's the 7 steps, right? The 8th step, and you only have to do this one time. How to actually now, once you do this, this is obviously if you're brand new, like most of you guys are on this workshop. What you would do now, the 8th step, remember you only have to do this one time, but what you would do is you would go to destinations, and you're gonna pick up your RSS feed, okay? And Hipson Classic feed, you're gonna copy it, okay? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna submit this to either iTunes, SoundCloud, wherever you're gonna be hosting, wherever you're gonna be, whatever one you choose. iTunes, to be honest with you, is the biggest player right now. Okay, it's the biggest player in the podcast industry. They started the podcast, so you definitely want to be on iTunes. That's hard, okay? Because if you can create all these podcasts, but if no one's listening or even consuming it, then it's all for nothing, right? So we want to be where the fish are, right? We want to go to the watering holes, and we want to drop our bait in there so we can catch all these fish. Pond where there's only 1 or 2 fish, you're gonna have a hard time catching fish and have a hard time selling your products and seeing your efforts, right? So let's go to iTunes now. I don't want to download anything, and I don't think you can see my iTunes. I think you're still on Libsyn, so let me switch over to iTunes. You guys are getting value. I'm pumped, guys. If you guys can see, I'm still bringing it. So hopefully you guys can match my energy. So here's iTunes, right? We're in the back office of iTunes, and I have a lot of things going on, so it might be a little slow, but here is what I was talking about. All right, you're in the view when somebody comes onto iTunes, as they come right here. So this is prime real estate right here, where it says new and noteworthy. Okay, all the where I was able to come and be a new and noteworthy podcaster to naturally get all the eyeballs that here and see these new podcasts. Okay, so if you're able to hit this new formula after I share with you this demo, I'm going to share with you a formula how to get here. Okay, so if you're asking yourself, well, that's awesome, but how do I actually do that? Don't worry, you're jumping to conclusions. I'm going to share with you in just a second. So remember I talked about the categories. There's arts, business, comedy, education, games, health, kids, family, news, politics, science, medicine, society, culture, sports, technology, TV and film, yada, yada, yada. There's so many things that you can choose and create a podcast from. Okay, so remember, go back to the exercise to create your zone of genius, because when you can do that, now you have a passion podcast, and now you can create content that you're passionate about, and you can create a community that is passionate about hearing that content, and now you create that tribe. Okay, so it's very important that you do that exercise. So final step of the producing your podcast, okay, is you would go here where it says submit a podcast. Okay, you would click that, submit a podcast. As it thinks. Come on, iTunes. You're killing me here. Podcast, iTunes is a little slow, guys. However, you guys got thinking, but as we're waiting for it to shift screens, this is where you would go to submit your podcast. Okay, so submit a podcast. You would get that RSS feed that you got from Libsyn, and you're going to submit it right here. Okay, so that's where you would go. So here we are. So here's where you would submit your RSS feed. So let me just go ahead and paste the RSS feed. Mine is unstoppablejourney.libsyn.com/RSS. And you would go ahead and do that. You're going to hit continue. I'm not going to hit continue because I already have my podcast on iTunes. But once you do that, that's it. You've officially submitted your podcast, all right? And it takes usually, some people say 48 to 72 hours. I submitted it on a Friday, and in 16 hours, I got a notification that that it was up and running. So for me, it was faster than 72 hours. I'm not sure if the weekend or just somebody that that saw it and helped that helped. I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't tell you. Submit it this day and it'll get approved right away. I'm not sure the formula that they use to actually approve them, but I was able to get mine within 16 hours. So just that's it. That's all you really need to create, produce, okay, and really launch your podcast. Now, if you got value, go ahead and let me know. If this is powerful information that that you didn't know, go ahead and let me know in the comment section, guys. All right, as I shift screens. Okay, so if you guys are getting value, go ahead and let me know. I'll go ahead and shift back to the presentation. Okay, and you should be, which I think, all right. So now that you have the 8-step formula, right, I'm going to share with you the perfect launch plan. All right. So now that you know what a podcast is, you know why you should be podcasting, the upside of podcasting, how many people are listening, how are we going to tap into, you now found your zone of genius. You now have created your perfect avatar. You've learned how to actually, the software, the tools that you need in order for you to create your podcast. Dig just a few minutes into the perfect launch plan. Okay, and we're coming up to about 60 minutes now. So to really the launch plan formula, okay, is you want to maximize the new and noteworthy. Okay, the new and noteworthy section that I was talking about, that I was showing you, is you maximize that to the fullest potential, because that's you're literally, when you're a podcaster and you go onto iTunes, you just now opened up a door to have millions of people potentially download your podcast and download it and like. So you want to maximize that new and noteworthy. And here's how you maximize the new and noteworthy. So here's the launch plan. I'm going to give it to you. I'm again now. All right, and I'm going to give it to you raw. I'm going to give you everything that I know, so you can go out there and you can go create your podcast. Number one, you want to launch with episode 000. So episode 000, think of it like a blog page, right? Or a blog, a website. There's always an about section, the about section of the websites, right? Well, episode 000 is about I consider it about the show, right? So you want to create the 000 episode. You want to give a little bit of background of your section of the show. How many times are you planning on producing a podcast, whether that's once a week, twice a week, 5 times a week, 7 days a week, whatever it is. You want to include it in the 000. You want to give a little background of yourself, but don't go too lengthy. I would say max 15 minutes. Okay, the very first episode. I've come across new podcasts that I've launched, and their episode 000 is like an hour long. And to be honest, that actually, I mean, I don't want to sit through an hour just to see and figure out that I don't like this podcast, right? In the first 15 minutes, I mean, you're either going to know or not know that you want to listen to this podcast, whether you want to subscribe to it, download it, and listen to future podcasts, right? So episode 000, don't make it super long. Don't make it an hour. That's just my personal opinion. If you want to go more than that, hey, that's on you. But just the way I felt the market, right? When somebody has launched their first episode and it's an hour long, I don't know if I really want to, invest an hour into somebody that I'm probably not going to get value from. So, make it short and sweet, and let them know, hey, this is what this podcast is about. If you want to download it, subscribe, rate, and review it. All right. Here's the second part of the launch plan is you want to launch with 3 shows. Okay, not 1 or not 10, but 3. This is part of the plan that I discovered as I went on my my podcasting journey. Right, I was able to surround myself with mentors that taught me this strategy. You launch with 3, not 1, not 10. 3. Why 3? Well, number one, if you only launch with 1 podcast, then the people that are downloading the podcast, number one, they see it. I don't know if this person's serious or not. I don't know if it's worth my time downloading this. What if they never put any more podcasts up, right? If you launch with 10, people get overwhelmed. They're like, wow, 10 is like, wow, that's a lot, right? So I don't know if I can hear all these right now, which they will if they really like you. But if you launch with 3, then it's a perfect match, right? If you launch with 1, let's just say 100 people go, and download your podcast. You have 100 downloads, which is okay. But imagine if you had 3 podcasts already set up and launched when you submit your RSS feed. Now those same 100 people download your and subscribe to your podcast. Now your 100 downloads went to 300 downloads. Okay, and that's key right there, because just by having 3, those 100 people now became 300 downloads, and iTunes now sees you as noteworthy. Number one, new and noteworthy, right? You get 2 categories. And is if you ask your listeners, right, write this down, put this in big capital letters. You have to subscribe, rate, and review. This must be in your vocabulary, okay? And here's the reason why. You only have 8 weeks or 56 days to capitalize on the new and noteworthy. After the 56 days, you're no longer new, right? So iTunes doesn't consider you new, so you cannot tap into that platform, the new and noteworthy, that millions of people, that's the very first home screen they see when they go there. So you only have 8 weeks in order for you to capitalize on this launch plan. So write this down, take a screenshot, whatever you want to do. This is the way to get onto the new and noteworthy. You have to ask for subscribes. You have to ask for rates and reviews, whether that's a wife, a girlfriend, boyfriend, cousins, nephews, your network. It doesn't really matter. The formula is you have to get people to subscribe. You have to get them to review your podcast. That's the only way you're going to jump to the new and noteworthy. If you neglect that, you only have 8 weeks, and after that, you're no longer new. So you no longer can get onto the new and noteworthy. So that's the perfect launch plan, my friend. All right, in a nutshell. So I'm going to go through this real quick, how you can actually grow your audience using social media. You can use social media like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, YouTube, okay, social networks to actually get your name out there, right? You can use your existing email list. If you don't have one, then I recommend starting to build one. That's how you build your tribe. That's how you can now let them know, hey, I just released a podcast, right? Go ahead and check it out. And number 3 is text message, right? Your phone, our mobile. It's our mobile is everywhere. It's a part of us now as a society, right? I don't know if you can relate to that picture, but you're really chained to your phone, right? If you don't have it, then you start scratching. At least I do, right? I gotta go get my phone, right? I run my business through my phone, so I always have to have it. So here's 3 ways that you can grow your audience using social media. You can also leverage your guest list, okay? And, like Nicole Lapin, Vidal Cisneros Jr., Leah Mullis, Dean Lewis, right? All these have been past guests on my show, and now I'm able to leverage their audience, their community, their tribe, right? By bringing them onto my show, I can now tell them, hey, when it launches, hey, your podcast just launched, if you don't mind, or if, I really appreciate if you can share it out with your, if you feel compelled, share it out with your audience, right? And why wouldn't they share it out with their audience? They would, because it's them. I'm highlighting them as the entrepreneur. So a lot of them actually do send it out, and now that's a new list, a new community, a new tribe that now starts to listen to the Unstoppable Journey, and that's how you start to scale. Okay, so tap into past guests. So let's go into the monetization I know this is something that all of you wanted to know, right? This is something that for those of you that are still here, and if you're watching the replay, I commend you. But here's the nitty gritty of it, right? How to monetize your podcast. Once you create all this content, you create the tribe. How to actually monetize it? Well, number one, you can use affiliate marketing. And if you don't know what affiliate marketing is, basically there's somebody that has a product or service that you like or that value from, you can partner with them and you can offer it to your new created audience. And if they take action, they buy the product, service, or whatever, they take, that product, then you get paid. You get paid a percentage of that sale. So you can do affiliate marketing. That's what I have incorporated into my podcast. Okay, I have different affiliate offers that I offer, that I actually partake in. I'm a member. I'm a community member. I'm a leadership council member, and I now offer that to my community that I'm building. Number two, you can do personal coaching, and a little bit more. You can also offer personal coaching. If you're an expert in something and you're creating this podcast, and then you have these listeners that are maybe just a little bit below you, that they don't have your expertise, you can now coach them. Okay, you can now coach them. You can now offer your services as a coach, and you can now hire them, and you can monetize it that way. Number three, you can create masterminds. Okay, and for me, I'm really working on at the moment to rolling out Warrior Nation Elite, which is basically a high-end mastermind that we're going to meet in different places of the world. And Warrior Nation, if you're a Warrior Nation, then you get to come to these masterminds and really enjoy the laptop lifestyles, or the lifestyle that we're creating here, and what podcasting can actually offer you. And number four is sponsorships. Okay, and this one, it usually comes out a little bit later than the first three, because you have to build your audience first, right? And that's what I've been doing. For me, once I hit the 100,000 download, which is only in a few days, now I can go to sponsors and be like, hey, I have now built an audience. What if they're entrepreneurs, they want to get out of the 9-to-5 grind, they're building a business on a part-time basis, they need tools and services, and I go to these different sponsors, and now I can tell them, hey, every podcast has an average of 1,000 downloads. I've now been downloaded over 100,000 times. I now have built an audience. Would this interest you to, have a sponsorship on my show? And some will say yes, some will say no. But if the ones that do say yes, you can now charge them, per 1,000, let's just say per 1,000 downloads, you now charge them, I don't know, $25, $30, right, per 1,000 downloads. So the more downloads you have, the more money you can actually receive from these sponsorships. So that's the four ways you can actually monetize it. There's others, but these are the four main ones that I'm focusing on at the moment. Affiliate marketing, personal coaching, mastermind, and sponsorships. Okay. So if you follow blueprint, I've just outlined inside of this powerful podcast mastery blueprint presentation to create your ultimate lifestyle and buy back your time and freedom with speed, ease, and pleasure will simply shock you, my friend. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, because I only had about 60 minutes, now it's about 60 and 12, right? And now we're in 12 minutes on this hangout. I didn't really get the opportunity to go into the deep psychology and strategic process to generating endless amounts of leads to your podcast for maximum efficiency. Okay, because of the time frame, I really wanted to go a lot deeper into this, but as you see, there's a lot of information that I covered today. So I wasn't able to go into actually how to get endless amounts of leads to your podcast. Now, whether you take me up on my next offer or not, you now have the ability to go ahead and create your podcast, right? But I want to offer you, those of you that are still watching, even if you're watching the replay, okay, you can if this is up, you can still utilize this and take advantage of this. But I want to offer you a free one-on-one coaching session to really help you get some clarity on the whole process, and really to set up and build your own stealth recruiting funnel branded to you, okay? And really, share with you how to get more leads to your podcast. If you have anything, if you need help with creating your perfect avatar, if you need help with questions to ask your guest, or when you're interviewing them, all this I can help you with this one-on-one coaching session, okay? And it's a free one-on-one. It's 30 minutes, okay? You have, my divided attention for 30 minutes. You can ask me anything, and this is all a complimentary free one-on-one coaching call, okay? There's nothing, to buy. It's all free. We set up our call, and then we dig in. I really want to help you, launch a podcast and get your business out there to the world like I have been doing. So if you'd like to take me up on this free offer, simply go to theunstoppablejourney.com/coaching. Okay, it's on your screen, theunstoppablejourney.com/coaching, to go ahead and sign up, fill out. There's an application, and let me just go there real quick so you can actually see it. All right, it's a short application. It won't take you more than, 7-10 minutes to fill out. And if you do that, I will go ahead and grant you the 30-minute one-on-one coaching call, and I will share with you, more strategies, actually how to get more traffic to your podcast. Okay, so this is what the application looks like. Okay, it's very simple. Just your name, how to contact your Skype ID, describe your 2015 business goals, your financial goals, and a little bit of your background, just so I know how I can help you and where you're at the moment. Okay, so it's a small little, it doesn't cost anything more than 7 to 10 minutes of your time to fill this out, my friend. And I guarantee you, when we get on the call, you will definitely, so go ahead and fill this out. All you have to go to is theunstoppablejourney.com/to actually get this filled out, and then have us, get in touch with each other. Okay, so that being said, for those of you that are still here, we're on our final lap, guys. Okay, so let's take a deep breath. And for those of you that are still here, right? In the beginning, I talked about if you stay to the end, I'm gonna share with you a resource that really my secret weapon. And I want to share with you mymittspages.com. Okay, simply go to mymittspages.com. You can create professional looking capture pages that look like this. You can change the background, you can change the color, the font, you can have them set up to your autoresponder and have them really look professional. One thing that I always look for when I was coming up, and still to this day, I always look for tools that will leverage my time. See, I'm not a coder, and I don't want to be a coder, right? That's not my skill set. That's not what I'm trying to learn. But to create these, it does take a little bit of knowing that stuff. So with mymittspages.com, you can actually create all this and not having to be a coder. You can create a lead capture page, start creating your list. If you don't have a list, you definitely need this resource, because MyMittsPages is off the hook. So this is my secret weapon that I utilize to create my capture pages and make them look professional. So people, when they land on these things, they're like, hey, this person knows what he's doing, right? At least a little bit. At least I gotta have that perception that I know what I'm doing, right? So I utilize mymittspages.com to get that job done. So in wrapping up, if you'd like to take me up on this free coaching offer, okay, it's only good for the next 7 days, so you definitely have to get in. Again, it's free. There's no cost to you, but just getting on the phone and really working on your business. I want to be that leader that helps you. And there's so many people out there, but who's really going to take the time to get on the phone with you and really help you and create that plan to success? So go to theunstoppablejourney.com/coaching. Once again, theunstoppablejourney.com/coaching. Now, here we go. Do you have any questions? Okay, I'm going to leave a few minutes for questions. Let me go ahead and check the question section and see if we have, if you guys have any questions. See, now I can. Perfect. You can see my hat and headphones set. Oh yeah, awesome. Okay, let's see. Do we have any questions? What questions? Junior asked, what questions to ask while you interview someone? Let's see. There might have been I think the question that was asked is, what questions do you ask while you're interviewing somebody? Hopefully that's it, right? I'm not sure, June. Is that what you were trying to say? Well, the questions. I mean, basically, the way I have it structured is mine is the unstoppable journey, right? So, um, for me, I want to definitely uh, ask questions that my audience is going to benefit from. So one of the questions, or the few questions that I ask, and I kind of modeled this right from John Lee Dumas, but hey, he probably modeled for someone else. So I mean, this is not new to anyone. Know, right? On somebody's journey as an entrepreneur, right? There's ups and downs in life, right? And I really want my guests to say a story or tell a story when they were at their lowest valley in life, and what did they do in order for them to get out of that valley, right? There's certain mindsets, there's certain things that we can learn as the listener, including myself, how to think, how to act, how to use resources, how to get out of that hole to get to our peak, right? And the following question to that is, now describe a time in your life when you were at your peak, when you were unstoppable, when nothing was stopping. Everything you did turned into gold, and you were just unstoppable. Lessons in that, right? So that's another question I ask. I also I made mine different. Okay, I shifted mine a little bit, and I talk a little bit about one thing that I want to be true is really to. And by the way, guys, we're in overtime now, so if you guys want to jump off, there's still a few people on, but I know this question was asked, so I want to just answer it real quick. But one thing that I want to do is give back to charity, right? I know that I'm going to be blessed beyond measure, but I also know that I cannot take everything with me once I'm no longer here on this planet. And my legacy to the world, is really to be that philanthropist, and really give back to different causes that I really am passionate about. And so I asked the question, like, is there certain charity or a cause that you really that we can shed some light on, and really help out? And a lot of people actually do have different causes that I've never even heard of, which is awesome, because now it exposes me and the Liberty Warrior Nation to things that they've never probably even been exposed to before. And so those are for a few questions. I mean, you can also go off the cuff, right? However, whatever. I like to sort of have it, kind of, scheduled out, but I also I also pivot. Okay, I also pivot in my interview process, where I don't just stick to the schedule, but I also pivot a little bit. So hopefully that answers your question, and you can and you can run with that, right? You can create any questions you want. To be honest with you, I mean, for me, that's just what I modeled, and mine's called Unstoppable Journey. So I want to be able to show people's their own personal journey, so we can learn as the audience as well. So doesn't look like there's any more questions. So I do have a small request. If you're still on right now, I request, if you go to iTunes and simply subscribe to the Unstoppable Journey podcast, just do a search. This is my artwork. You can find me on iTunes, Stitcher, and just go ahead and subscribe, okay? And leave an honest review, whether that's a 3, a 4, or 5, even if it's a 1-star, guys. It really doesn't. I mean, it does matter to me, because I want to get better as a podcaster. But even if it's a 1-star, let me know why it's a 1-star, right? If you don't like my voice or whatever, that's fine. Okay, not everybody's gonna like my voice, but I want to get better as a podcaster. I really see myself digging deep into this industry and really being that go-to person when it comes to podcasting. So I always want to get better, and if you can do me that favor, I really would appreciate it. And if there's no more questions, then to get started, just go to the unstoppablejourney.com/coaching, get your coaching application filled out, and then we will be in contact in the next 24 to 48 hours. We'll set up our coaching call, and then we'll dig into actually, launching your podcast. That's it for me, guys. Let me check one last time if there's any other questions. Boom. I saw that on your last part. Awesome. So did you guys get value? Let me know if you got value. Who's gonna be taking me up on this offer? Who's gonna go through the coaching? I mean, it's a free coaching call. I mean, let's get on the phone. Let's go ahead and do it, man. Awesome. Great. Well, great having you guys on as well. It's a pleasure as always. Let me get back to my screen just so it doesn't sound weird, right? It's a pleasure as always, guys. My name is Martin Ware, founder and host of the Unstoppable Journey, and I will catch you on the internet, my friend. If you have any questions, reach out to me, and I'm here to help you expand your business using podcasting. So I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.